and welcome back to another episode of The Pod Well Travelled. I'm Penny Thomas and I'm a travel writer here at the West Australian. And today I'm joined by Stephen Scourfield, who's the travel editor at the West, and he's actually up in Kununurra at the moment in Mirima. And he's going to tell us about, I guess, a few new walking trails that have been opened up there. And then he'll also discuss the opening of a new visitor centre up in Purnululu. So I'll introduce you, Stephen. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well. It's good to talk to you from this amazing place I'm standing in just outside Kununurra.
So tell us about where you are at the moment.
Well, it's all a bit odd actually because a few days ago I was standing in Africa surrounded by baobab trees, and I'm standing in Kununurra surrounded by baobab trees. And the landscape actually feels quite similar, except for the fact that I'm sort of right at the end of the suburbs in Kununurra, and I'm surrounded by these striped sandstone domes, which look a bit like a mini Bungle Bungle. This is Mirima National Park, and as I say, it's right on the edge of Kununurra. I'm laughing because I wonder if you can hear this noise in the background. Let me just... You might just be able to hear the sound in the background of blowers.
Oh, okay.
Even here we have blowers. But there's a reason for that. As you say, in fact, at 3:15 this afternoon, the newest walk trail in Mirima National Park is officially being opened. So the local rangers, the Mirrawong people, are very involved in running the park with the Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions. And that opening is this afternoon. So it's pretty exciting. It's a 3.5 kilometre long walk through Mirima. I have to say it's 9 o'clock in the morning now and it's warming up. So it's a beautiful early morning walk with great light.
Okay. And what's the difficulty level like for those types of walks?
It's really simple. I mean, it's amazing the way they put these walks in. These are expensive projects, but they've got raised sort of, protected walkways over sensitive places. It's all very flat. In fact, I'm standing at a junction here now. I've just moved to a junction. And all the paths to start with are sort of concreted in a sympathetically coloured concrete. They're all well signposted. So very, very easy accessibility. And in fact, I'm standing in this really remote place like the Bungle Bungle, almost directly opposite a disabled parking spot. So access is really been a priority. There's some new toilets here. They've got ramps. The place looks very, very different to the dusty paths that I knew many, many, many years ago when we all scrambled through here to get a view of these mini bungles in Mirima. And of the town itself from a high view, which you get at the end.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. And I guess would you say it's the ideal sort of taster for people that are travelling through the area perhaps before they go and see the Bungle Bungles, which are a real sort of star attraction up there?
Yeah, you're precisely right. But, Kununurra's got a pretty interesting season ahead. Really, the dry season has just started. It's still a bit sticky this morning and warm, but from May onwards, everything will sort of be open. That's the season: May, June, July, August, and into September. And they're going to have a tricky year because the Fitzroy Crossing Bridge is really important to this place. That's the bridge further down the Kimberley, which has been washed away by floods in this wet season that we've just had. There's going to be a low-level crossing there, so, traffic will be able to get through, but it's definitely not as easy. So, I mean, it's just a really interesting year for Kununurra because, quite honestly, I flew up direct from Perth to Kununurra with Airlink, which code shares with Qantas, in 3 hours, which is got to be the easiest flight I've done in the last 6 months. Yeah. And I'm flying back direct with Virgin Australia the day after tomorrow. So direct flights, 3 hours, staying in Kununurra. Even if you just hire a little car, the little RAV4 here, and you can get to Mirima. So if Purnululu is sort of beyond a shortish break, then this is a very good option. You're right.
And you do get to see, I guess you sort of described it as a mini sort of version of the Bungle Bungles, but is there anything else that's also interesting to see where you are at the moment?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of the birds just over the blower. The blower will stop in a minute, I'm sure, and then we'll hear the birds. Lots of finches, star finches, double finches, lots of songbirds out that are whistling, and I can see a brown kite above me. So yeah, lots of birds. There are lots of reptiles through here. Obviously the snakes, but they're not going to bother you on a warm day like this. So yeah, there's lots of trees, bloodwoods, lots of big hardwoods from the Kimberley. Oh, here we go. Here's the Parks and Wildlife. Morning, sir. Just arriving to. He's got a blower too. It's a bit noisy.
They're getting ready for this afternoon.
There's lots to see. Yeah, everybody's getting ready for this afternoon. It's a big deal up here.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, and I guess the other reason that you're up there is to check out the new visitor centre. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, Purnululu, the Bungle Bungle Range in Purnululu is the big beehive striped domes, and I'm sure most of our listeners will be familiar with that dramatic sight of hundreds of beehive domes. The stripes are formed by cyanobacteria in a unique process. So 20 years ago, they were listed as a World Heritage Site. So I'm also here for that sort of anniversary for 2 decades of that. And to mark that, the Purnululu Visitor Centre opened out there at Purnululu. So another thing to do from Kununurra, of course, is to fly there's a number of aviation companies here which do flight seeing over the Bungle Bungles. So I should be flying down tomorrow with the government officials and the local traditional owners to sort of for the opening of that, which is very much a DVCA project. Yes, he's getting his blowout. I'm going to hurry up now. Everybody's getting very excited here. So the opening of the Purnululu Visitor Centre is a big deal, partly because, yes, you can flight see the Bungles. You can also fly in and land at the Bungles and do a walk. But, yeah, most people would drive in. So the track into the Bungles from Great Northern Highway is much improved, once again, from the first times I did that 70 kilometres through Texas Station. Pretty rough. But there's a spot to leave a caravan, take the vehicle in. Your Prado will do it very nicely, and the visitor centre will be there. So I haven't seen that yet. That's tomorrow, as I say, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'll be walking up through Cathedral Gorge and Echidna Chasm, which bring back a lot of memories to me. Penny, just while I'm standing here, I've written a couple of novels. One was set absolutely in this landscape. So it's also a very big journey back to those days for me. That's it. The blower's starting. I'm finished. That's the best way to be chuffed off a podcast, I think.
No, that's okay. I actually can't hear the blowers too much, but when we play it back, I'm sure I might notice something. But yeah, I was actually talking to my siblings the other day about the Bungle Bungles, because none of us have actually been there. And we were I was trying to explain from, I guess, the images what it sort of looks like and how truly sort of mammoth the sort of boulders and things really are. Do you remember what it was like when you first saw the Bungle Bungles?
Yeah, because I flew in a mustering helicopter. Wow. These were early days. I flew in a mustering helicopter. In fact, we were chasing cows on Texas Station, and we went on and flew over the Bungles, which is a way to do it. So from Warman, from what used to be called Turkey Creek, there are helicopter flights from there over the Bungles. So seeing it in a helicopter is one thing, because you actually get closer and up a bit more, particularly in the chasm, you'll follow that a bit. Seeing it from a plane is another thing, the big caravan planes, like from Kununurra. But then it's a totally different experience on your feet. I was just talking about this with Glenn Chidlow, who's the chair of the Purnululu World Heritage Committee. And he really made the point very strongly that seeing the Bungle Bungle Range from the air is just not the same as being on your feet in the dust, walking through an intercathedral gorge, chasm gorge, for example.
Mm.
So, there's kind of it's weirdly different, two experiences.
Mm.
So tell your siblings, and I'll tell you two, that the next time there's a Bungle Bungle Purnululu trip, you're on it.
Yeah. It sounds fascinating, and it also seems like it'd be quite spiritual, just being around, I guess, the landscape there. It all looks quite lovely. Can you do self-guided tours, or is it best to go with a guide up there?
No, there'll be guided tours. The traditional owners are very engaged with the National Park and with the World Heritage Committee, and they do tours. So there are individuals and companies which do tours on your feet in Purnululu. So once again, a great partnership between traditional owners and the Department of Biodiversity Conservation and Attraction. So, it's all that's working very, very well, and a great thing to see.
Yeah, and it's great to hear the visitor centre there is coming along too, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that in your stories that will be published in the West Travel section and online.
It is on Saturday, so all that's going to be written. The Walk Trail will be written this evening and filed this evening, being Wednesday for Saturday's paper and supplement. And tomorrow I fly back into Canara at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thursday afternoon, so that'll be written and filed for Saturday's travel supplement as well.
Yeah, so very recent articles coming straight from you, which is fantastic to hear.
Yeah. We like it. Hot off the press.
We love it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Okay, well, I guess thanks for chatting with us today, Stephen, and we can't wait to sort of read what your experience is like when the stories do get published. So thanks for your time this morning.
Great to talk to you. And I feel very privileged to be on what's probably your first real official podcast.
Yes,
so.
My first phone-in as well, which is...
and your first phone-in.
I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come, but glad this one's gone off without a hitch so far, so that's good.
Years and years ahead of us. That's fantastic. Thanks, Penny.
Wonderful. Thanks, Stephen. Speak to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
See you. Bye.